Yo, what's up, Alex? How you doing, man? How you doing, bro? You good? You good? All right, bro. Hey, man, how about that cryptocurrency, though? It's been taking off, right? Yeah, bro, like, cryptocurrency is gonna take off, man. Some high hopes, got some good savings here. I've been watching the market. It's been doing pretty well. But look, I'm about to put you on. I'm gonna put you on for real. Like, this is serious. Have you ever heard of Ripple XRP? Yeah, I've heard of Ripple before. This coin is about to take off. It's about to moon. It's not really that new, but yeah, I mean, Ripple's cool. I mean, these guys are seriously partnering with businesses to take this coin off, man. This is like the new. It's gonna pass Bitcoin. It's gonna pass Bitcoin. I mean, Ripple's cool. It's not a bad thing. You know, it's the worst thing in the world, but I think I'm sticking with my Bitcoin. But you know, I like the way Bitcoin was kind of, you know, put out there. I like the way how, you know, it has miners that are incentivized to keep the network secure. Ripple is just a little bit different. You know, it's not a bad thing. I just, you know, I don't like the way the coins were minted. I don't like how, you know, Ripple Labs owns the majority of them, and how they have like this weird consensus protocol. You didn't do enough research. Honestly, you just didn't do enough research. Yeah, I actually have done a lot of research on the coin here. I've spent a lot of time, you know, and I just don't invest my money into random places. You didn't do enough research. Bro, I've done a pretty good amount of research. Like, I'm pretty confident that, you know, I know what I'm talking about when it comes to the decentralization of Ripple. They have a very centralized type of coin. The way that they released it and minted the coins in the first place, and the fact that Ripple holds the majority of them, they put it in escrow, and very, you know, I get it. They have all these weird tactics to make it seem like it's decentralized, but let's just be honest here. I mean, Bitcoin's Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's been here for a while, and it's been proven over time. Ripple, not really. A lot of banks, you know, I can go on forever, man. I've done a lot of research.
Bro, what is stop?
What's going on, everybody? Alex back with another cryptocurrency video, and today we're talking about Ripple XRP. Is it centralized or is it decentralized? Okay, before we get started, guys, I do understand that I am going up against and talking about an entity that is much bigger, larger than I am, have a lot more money, a lot more power, and a lot more influence. I originally did not want to make this video, but the reason I'm making it now is because I'm getting a whole bunch of negative backlash from a video, a 15-minute video, which specifically tried to stay away from the centralization topic in its entirety, okay? I simply talked about how Ripple centralized for like less than a minute. For less than a minute out of a 15-minute video. I actually gave pretty good price prediction for Ripple. You can 14x your money, you know, with Ripple, right? I talked pretty good about it, in my opinion, from my standpoint, from what I know. I talked good about it, and I got all this negative backlash, right? 43 downvotes. Now, a whole bunch of negative comments of people saying I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm an idiot, I should do more research before I make a video. Keep in mind, guys, I've been in cryptocurrency for 6 years, okay? Now, when Ripple first came out into the media, right, because obviously it's been out for longer, but when it first blew up and everybody started talking about it, you know, it was, the general knowledge was from everybody in the cryptocurrency, we all knew that it was centralized. Everyone knew it. Like, it's just a thing that, you know, that was the banker's coin, right? That was the banker's coin, and everybody knew that. And I thought that was kind of the general consensus still. But after making this video, obviously that has shifted a little bit. A lot of people are talking about, you know, and maybe they're not people, right? Which brings me to my next point. That's another thing I want to talk about. I'm talking about a big entity here, guys, with a lot of money. So if I get like a strike on my YouTube channel, it gets banned for some reason, right? If I get my account hacked, if this video gets downvoted into oblivion, whatever, you guys go join my private group, right? Join my private group because they can't hack that. And, you know, let's try to keep this, you know, I don't think it's going to happen, but there's always that chance. I will not be surprised, right? Why? Because I did a quick Google search, you know, after getting all these negative comments, these crazy, weird negative comments, because you could look at my videos, guys, go look at my channel, look at my other videos. Obviously, not everybody agrees with me. I get like, you know, 3 downvotes for like 100 upvotes, right? You know, not everyone agrees with me. But for some reason, in this video, it was an outlier. People were hating on it, and I did it the same way I did other videos. So, I was skeptical. I was like, yo, what's going on? Are these like real people? And after doing some research, they have Ripple. I don't know if it's Ripple. I don't know if it's XRP. I don't know if it's some random guy on the internet, but someone has, a history of doing this, especially on Twitter, right? On Twitter, they have a history of doing this. And this is not the first article. Guys, I'm not going to dive deep into this article here. You can go do the research for yourself. It's a real thing. They're trying to hack people. If you talk negative about XRP, they're bashing you, hitting you with thousands of tweets. I'm not going to jump into it. You guys can go look at it for yourself, but I don't need to jump into it. Why? Because I literally experienced it, and experience is the best type of knowledge in the whole entire world. Now, before we move forward, guys, I kind of wanted to let you know all of that stuff, before we jump into this video, so you understand what's really going on here. It's a lot bigger than who I am, right? But before we get started, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, my name is Alex, and I talk about everything internet entrepreneurial, okay? If you're looking to make money on the internet, this is definitely the channel for you. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button as well as the push notification bell so you can get the videos first. And I try to keep it as real as possible, even if my financial future depends on it, right? I make all my money off of YouTube. Even though that they can hack my account or do something very horribly wrong to me, I have an obligation to my followers to give you the complete and total truth regardless, right? Because that's the most important thing by far. So that's what we're going to jump into, with this centralization or decentralization topic. By the way, guys, I did not want to make this video. You guys forced me to do it, Ripple community. So maybe you don't know what's really going on. Well, maybe, go to the comment section below. We can duke it out. I have been done my research for years ago. Okay. And we could talk about whatever you want to talk about, the consensus mechanism. We could talk about the escrow accounts, anything you want. I'm going to dive deep into this video. Maybe it gets a little bit too complex for certain people. If you want to comment, leave a comment below. Okay. So let's jump into it. Not only the bot thing, let's just ignore that, even though that's a big red flag. Let's just ignore that, right? Let's just ignore that. Say some random guy just, loves XRP and that's what he did. So let's jump into this article right here from the medium.com. Very, very good article. This is going to be the general, like what I'm going to follow. And then it's going to jump into some other articles. I leave them all in the description so you guys can read them for yourself, because I'm not going to read all of them on this video for purposes of length, right? So I'm not going to read this, kind of summary here. You can read it for yourself. But the first thing I want to do is define decentralization. Decentralization is kind of like a philosophical term that people use. There's no definite definition of it. But when I define decentralization, I define it by looking at Bitcoin. Why? Because it's the biggest coin in the world. It's been here for the longest. It stood the test of time. Okay, it's decentralized. Now, there's a lot of problems with it, which I will also explain. A lot of people are going to say, well, Bitcoin's centralized because of the miners. Okay, of course, we're going to talk about that too. We're going to talk about all of that. Okay, so guys, keep an open mind here. Okay, if you're not a bot and you're a real person, keep an open mind, because I'm not just jumping to the fact that, I hate Ripple. I'm just explaining it's different. It's as simple as that. It's just different. Okay, so first thing, let's define decentralization. No single point of failure. So if one node gets knocked off, all the nodes can keep running, right? That's a feature of Bitcoin. You can't just demolish it and everything goes. I mean, there's a lot of people say you can, there's a lot, you can get the government involved and go with guns, but essentially Bitcoin, that's how it works. The nodes, if one goes down, you would have to take over 51% of Bitcoin to actually take it down, supposedly, okay? Equality. So anyone should be able to participate in mining Bitcoin. Now, I will admit, Bitcoin is a little bit more, you have to have a lot of computing power to mine your own node, to have your own node, but you could partake in a pool, right? A pool of miners, freedom of permission and verification. So this is kind of like saying, equality, right? All the nodes are going to have equal rights, right? You're going to be able to participate in it. And then fairness, right? So this is where Ripple really lacks, where fairly distributed to the economy, right? Everyone that's getting it. How were the coins distributed? They were pre-minted. A single entity controls more than 50% of the voting power. Ripple, 78% of all available coins are owned by the richest 100 addresses, and there's no native incentives for nodes such as mining rewards for Bitcoin. The cryptocurrency Ripple, one could say, according to these values, is almost entirely under the control of Ripple. This is what we mean by centralization. But I'm not just talking, right? I did my research, right? So let's jump into it. So at its core, Ripple's consensus is based on trust. Each node is connected to other nodes, and as soon as a transaction is accepted by a certain number of these nodes, it is now accepted. In this way, the network comes to a consensus, right? Okay, so now we go to the creation and distribution of XRP tokens. In 2013, we know, like we've talked about 100 times, 100 billion tokens were created. 80 billion was given to the new founded company, Ripple Labs, right? They solved this problem, escrow, we're gonna talk about it, right? 20 billion was given to the three founders, Chris Larson, 9.5 billion, Jed McCaleb, 9.5 billion, 1 billion, whatever. They got the top guys got the, you know, a lot of the XRP, right? Now, when it reached this all-time high of $3, keep in mind, Chris Larson's assets briefly rose over $50 billion. He was one of the richest people. I said million at first, but $1 billion. One of the richest people on earth from cryptocurrency. He owned a lot of them, okay? There's a reason why he was one of the richest people, okay? This part right here is saying that they basically made, you know, the escrow. They made an account specifically. Well, so they claim, and we're going to talk about it. They basically made an account of a smart contract to lock up, what was it, 55 billion XRP, so that they don't automatically get dumped onto the market by the founders and Ripple Labs, right? So they locked it up, kind of like Bitcoin's locked up. It's not locked up, it's not even made yet, but the way Bitcoin works is that it gets released if, you know, they're minted, okay? So they kind of wanted to copy that, right? And this is where everybody talks about the escrow accounts, right? So there's 1 billion amount, right? XRP in these contracts. Now keep in mind, this was not 100% honest. And we're gonna explain that right here. So right here, with 55 contracts, 1 billion XRP was frozen in each, right? And it's supposed to release 1 billion each month, right? And sold, okay? They're supposed to sell the Ripple, and then whatever Ripple is not sold for that month. Now, this is coming from their article. I'm going to leave the article for you guys. For whatever Ripple is not sold, they take that amount and they put it at the end of the 55 month or the 55 contract. So it would be, so let's say, for example, half of them get sold, 500 million get sold. The other 500 million is supposed to go to the 56th contract, the end. It's supposed to go back in the queue, right? And this is what they said from their website. But they're lying in a lot of ways about this escrow. Now, the general thing I want to get here, you know, get across to you guys is that if it quacks like a duck, if it looks like a duck, it's a duck. Okay? Okay? Okay, keep that in mind. If we see a lot of things going wrong, you know, it's a duck. Just keep that in mind. It's a duck, okay? So let's go to Coinmetrics, right? So Coinmetrics basically did an analysis on the escrow system, okay? They looked into it for themselves because, you know, if it quacks like a duck, right? And they basically found a lot of misrepresentations. When they did their research, Coinmetrics found that several important discrepancies between the publicly reported by Ripple and what was visible to the XRP ledger, which, by the way, it's really hard to view the XRP ledger. Not as hard on Bitcoin, but for some reason, they're not as transparent. So if we look right here, 2 quarterly markets reports underreported the number of XRP released from the escrow by a total of 2 million XRP, $84 million at current prices, okay? The escrow queue is implemented differently than announced, leading to a faster future release of escrow funds compared to the announced schedule. So they released more coins than they said. They're releasing them faster than they said, right? Now here's the third problem. Other parties potentially associated with Ripple have released 55 million XRP from an unknown escrow address not connected to the main Ripple account. So other sketchy things. What was that? What was that? Okay, sorry about that, guys. Back to the article. On-chain data shows that 55 billion XRP were escrowed on December 16, 2007, while the announcement article mentioned that 55 contracts of 1 billion XRP was supposed to be implemented, right? So it's supposed to have 55 different contracts with 1 billion in each. Now, that was a lie. They actually did 25 contracts with 1 billion XRP, right? And then they split the other, you know, I guess whatever, 57 contracts, or I'm pretty sure I'm wrong about that, but the other amount that they're supposed to have, they split it in half, look right here, into 60 contracts of 50 million XRP, right? Okay, so that's one, right? Wait, what was that noise? What was that noise? What was that? Okay, let me just, I'm trying to ignore it, guys. I'm trying to ignore it. We found 2 more reports. Ripple misreported the amount of XRP returning to its escrow scheme. So when they didn't sell all the Ripple, both times overreported the amount returned by 100 million XRP, therefore underreporting the number of XRP released. Further evidence of this overreporting is present in appendix. You know, you go down there, you can go look into it more. So let's keep going. Okay, so now this is proof that they said specifically, they didn't go by with the words that they put out in their articles, right? Okay, this is what they said. We'll then return whatever is unused at the end of each month back into the escrow queue. Okay, a queue means that it's a set, you put it in the back of the queue. Okay, it says right here, back of the escrow queue. The CoinDesk article published the same day of the announcement of the supply escrow scheme supported this assumption. So CoinDesk announced an article saying the same thing. Then at the end of the month, whatever XRP is unused will be added to the end of the escrow queue in the form of an additional month-long contract, starting this process all over. So it's supposed to be contract 56. A technical article published on the day before the setup of escrow scheme also confirms this assumption. So they're basically saying that in like 10 different ways, a lot of different places confirmed that they were going to take the unsold XRP and put it towards the back of the queue. I'm trying to explain this very in simple terms for people that really don't understand technical stuff, right? On-chain data, however, tells a different story. It seems that instead of locking unused funds into the first slot, the first month with no existing escrow, they locked it in such a way to maintain the fixed amount of 1 billion XRP escrow per month. So you see where it's very vague, right? They're not explaining it the right way. You can't trust what they say, right? You have to read it for yourself and verify it with the blockchain, which, by the way, blockchain is very hard to verify on XRP, right? A lot of people really don't understand it. Now, just a couple of days ago, as you can see here, 1 billion XRP tokens from escrow wallet, they transferred it, somewhere, and then they transferred it back again, right? And it's not just me, guys. It's not just me. The Ripple community, whoever's watching this video that is not a robot, the Ripple community, they're trying to take actions again. They signed up a petition, stop dumping Ripple. This was, okay, look, December 2nd. They signed a petition, stop dumping Ripple. Ripple's price has been steadily declining in the past few months, although several new partnerships have been established. The XRP community previously threatened the company's executives with staging a takeover if they don't start paying attention to these concerns. However, the company insists that selling XRP to investment firms is the only way to help yeah, that's true. Maybe that is how you help the ecosystem grow and fund your own operations, but that's not what you said when you agreed to the escrow account. Basically, what is that noise? What is that noise? Do you guys hear that? It's crazy. It's just crazy. Okay, so if we come back over here, now they say that they got, the best developers. That's great. We don't even care about that. We're talking about the nodes here. So the nodes operated by downloading. So basically BitMEX, right, did like an in-depth, analysis on one node to see exactly how it works and operates, right? And this is the conclusion they came up with. The node operated by downloading a list of 5 public keys from the v1.ripple.com server. These 5 keys are attributed to ripple.com. The software points that 4 out of the 5 keys are necessary for a proposal to be accepted. Since the keys are all downloaded from the ripple.com server, Ripple essentially has full control over the ledger and moves forward. Now, they came up with a solution to this because this is, I guess, these guys are sketchy in the past, I guess, so they're not going to, once a liar, always a liar. But, by the end of 2017, Ripple agreed to BitMEX's findings. The company writes that in a post, they deliberately chose to be the most trusted validator operator on the network so they can go through the first phase of the XRP development. But they fixed that, right? They fixed it. Unique node lists in which the trustworthy Ripple nodes are located, provided that these nodes fulfill certain conditions dictated by Ripple. So basically, Ripple owns now only like less than 7% of all the nodes, right? But this is something that I didn't even read in this article. It's just pretty obvious. But guys, the nodes are not incentivized by Ripple. Basically, the nodes are doing it on a voluntary basis, right? If they're doing it on a voluntary basis, somebody, I don't know, can come and incentivize them to do what they want and pay them. Now, who's likely to do that? Somebody with a lot of money? Who's somebody that might have had $50 billion? I don't know. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to put this together, guys. Like, it does not take a, you can lobby. I don't know. Whatever. Let's just read the article, right? It is therefore positive to note that Ripple is indeed reduced by its influence on consensus building. They're saying that they basically fixed the problems, right? Bitcoin's a little bit different. Now, let's talk a little bit about Bitcoin, because I know a lot of people are going to jump into that topic. I'm not bashing them. I'm just telling you guys that Ripple is just a different type of cryptocurrency. It's a way to send money across the globe. It's not a decentralized blockchain, though. Okay, so let's jump into how Bitcoin works. So basically, Bitcoin is pretty centralized, I will admit, right? Bitcoin is centralized in the way that, they have a mining monopoly, right? So there's these Chinese farmers that own the majority of all the power on the network, and they get the majority of the coins, so they can kind of manipulate the market in a way that they want, right? See, the biggest difference here, in my opinion, is the fact that when you're mining, you're at least getting incentivized by Bitcoin to keep it going. At least Bitcoin saying, here's a Bitcoin for mining me the proper way. Thank you. These guys, they made it to the top for a reason. They acted first. They invested more money into Bitcoin to get these huge mining operations, right? Don't get me wrong, but there would be no incentive for them to attack themselves, because they would lose a ridiculous amount of money. A 51% attack is likely to not happen because they make more money mining the coin. See, with Ripple, they do not get incentivized. If they don't get paid to keep the network secure, they're going to go with whatever pays them. It's as simple as that. So at least we know who's paying these guys that mine Bitcoin. We don't know who pays the nodes on Ripple. Does that make sense to you guys? Yeah, it's centralized. It's centralized in a different way, but this is centralized in a very critical way, right? This is a very critical centralization. And I do believe that there could be other coins that come out, like Raven coin, for example, is ASIC resistant. So ASIC miners can't take over the whole protocol, right? They can't just mine it and, have that centralized, mining like Bitcoin, right? There is ways to solve it, but, having Ripple be able to manipulate the majority of the nodes is pretty ridiculous, right? And it explains it best in this article. Basically talks about how, Ripple continues to be, if Ripple continues to be used and highly scalable, it would be in the hands of a small cartel. That's the best way to put it. Yeah, they have all these ways of covering it up. Yeah, they have an escrow account that's but they're manipulating that. They can manipulate it. Why? Because they have control of the nodes. Yeah, they don't have control over all the nodes, but who's incentivizing them? The people with the money. Who has the most interest in incentivizing a Ripple network, the XRP network, Ripple? I don't need to dive into the technicals to tell you guys that if it quacks like a duck, if it walks like a duck, then it's a duck. It's as simple as that. For the purposes of this video, I'm gonna keep it short and simple, okay? Now, if I get blown up with negative comments, downvotes, I made my choice, right? I wanted to make this video for my followers because I have that obligation to them. You make your own conclusions, okay? You go look at the articles. You go look at Ripple's articles. I read, the Ripple report, right? I read their report. I looked at all perspectives. But to say that, some of these comments, I'm ridiculous. I've never done any research in my life, that Ripple is the most decentralized coin in the world, that there isn't problems with Ripple, and the fact that, it's funny because these businesses are not even accepting XRP. They're accepting the technology of Ripple. Okay. I said that in my last video. It made a lot of people mad, but this is just the truth. You draw your own conclusions. I go with the OGs. It's as simple as that for me. If you like the quality of this content, hit like. If you don't, leave some constructive criticism below. We can duke it out. Subscribe for more video updates. And like I always say, if you don't get with this technology, you will get left behind. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Catch you in the next one.
you.